I'm honestly surprised that we're getting presumably 3 episodes for Talulah's backstory. I figured it would be open up episode 23, Alina dies, because we all know that Alina's going to die. She's the catalyst. She's holding back the curse. Alina dies, and immediately Talulah goes crazy, starts leading the reunion, and they start, being mean, basically. In the end, just kind of turning from what we're seeing in this episode. But I like that. I like that we did get this full episode that, yes, a lot of it's, the riddles back and forth of what is fate, what is your purpose, what is your goals, you can't sacrifice, no, we want to save everybody, all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of that stuff, but it sort of establishes what I think Talulah was supposed to be, like what she wanted to be. And yes, a lot of it has to do with her time around Alina. Alina was sort of this grounding thing to keep her focused. Even when they left the village before, she wanted to get revenge and all this kind of stuff, but she didn't want the curse to take over her. Alina was kind of keeping her structured. So I'm liking the fact that they didn't just immediately rush to Alina dying, even though we all knew it was coming, because we did get to see in this episode sort of what could have been. The Talulah that could have been, and technically could still be, but I don't think so at this point. I think the current time Talulah is lost. I don't see them somehow trying to pull her into being positive, unless she becomes sort of a live on and fix it through your deeds. We're not going to forgive you what you did, but you're going to do good deeds. I don't think so, though. I don't think so. I think she's too lost in the curse. And even if she did fix her ways, or at least have a realization at some point of this is not what Alina wanted, she would probably just be crushed under her own guilt. But anyways, yeah, episode 23, pretty decent episode. Let's go through it. I don't know if I have too much to talk about, because again, a lot of riddle kind of stuff, but I always say that it ends up turning something really cool. But anyways, we open up the episode seeing that, yes, Alina is there with Mephisto and Faust, or at least Enno and Sasha. They're sitting them, teaching them some stuff, helping them with their education and whatnot. And that's when Talulah comes by with clothing that she actually burnt of Frost Novas. She was really mad. But we had this little conversation between the two of them, mostly, again, around the idea of, it seems like Alina trying to help Talulah understand the idea of establishing a foundation for the future. There is this sort of this element of what she feels Talulah wants to become and what she should be kind of focusing on. Again, Alina is sort of a grounding force for her. Again, coming over here to the area where they have all the education and the kids, there's a reason for her being there. It's sort of a way of kind of grounding her down. The start of the conversation was interesting, though, because she did bring up the idea that Talulah wanted Alina to join their squad. I remember them saying something to the effect that she didn't have arts that were made for the battlefield, and here again she's saying it, but I'm kind of curious why Talulah so badly wants Alina with the squad. I think she just wants her to meet the squad, but I would be curious if she wants her to actually be on the battlefield. I don't think she would want to. I think she just wants her to meet the people, and they're kind of separated. I think she kind of wants her to be with her at her side or something like that. But again, she's sort of just like a place to go to kind of get a little bit of a refresher, get a restoring happening being around Alina. But anyways, the interesting thing in this conversation that I like the most, besides all the fate stuff, which I don't particularly like that kind of riddle stuff there, I do like there's an element here where, again, it feels like Alina's trying to get Talulah to accept sort of a foundation for the future. And the idea of what do you do once you establish this place? We're going south. You want to establish something there. What will you do once we get there? What would you do if you could make a place for all the infected? What would you do with those that were not infected? Okay, let's say if you cure the Oripathy, then what would you do then? You would have a place where, there would be no infected, but there would still be people that would remember those that were infected and those that weren't. That was the key part there. I thought that was very interesting. And I could see this. I could see this happening. If you have a society that is a bunch of people that are infected and those that aren't infected, and at some point you get them to be able to stay side by side and you cure those that were infected, what you'll have is generations after those individuals that will still see that persecution. Despite the fact that they might be all the same race, you will have generations later, like 100 years down the road, that will still go, your previous generation persecuted my previous generation because they were infected. How will you get around that? Even if you can get rid of the infection, there's still going to be divide happening there. And I think that's really Alina trying to press upon Talulah. Think forward. Don't just always think we need to get to here. Well, what then? Well, we'll figure it out when we get there. No, you have to establish a roadmap. And I think that's what Alina's trying to press upon Talulah, which I think is a good thing because it allows her to see sort of a future ahead. And if something gets bumpy right here, you'll still know the end goal. That's really the important thing there. Again, I think that's really what she's trying to press upon here. There's a lot of emphasis here on keep thinking forward. Don't think about this or this. Think ahead. Again, they get a lot into the whole fate thing, which I don't really care much for, but that's fine. I've heard enough fate conversations in series like this that it's like, yeah, okay, we get it. We get the whole fate thing. I don't believe in fate. You believe in fate. I think it is sort of good to sort of, again, ground her into seeing what's ahead of her rather than sort of an unseen force to dictate what she does. Yeah, getting a little bit in there about Tala sort of wanting to be able to fight for what they believe, helping the infected, and how that's sort of, put upon her, or at least instilled upon her, because that's what Patriot says. She's like, you need to stop learning from him. If something happens, you should give up, forgive yourself, and move on. Don't go into Patriot's mindset. We've seen that. Us, the viewers, we have seen that recently, that Patriot's mindset is that you keep pushing forward, like, endlessly, no matter if you're losing or not. Don't go the Patriot route. But again, I like the cute little insight into Alina and her, again, grounding Talulah, giving a little bit of perspective there of how she is, again, trying to help keep Talulah in check, even pointing out the idea that, yeah, this something right here, that's something that Kashi has implanted upon you. This idea that you can't do something that you don't believe in, all these different viewpoints that you have in there, those are things that are implanted into you by him. That curse. We can't probably wipe that out of you, but I want to be at your side so I know that it can pull you back out. Like, flag. The fact that she states that at the beginning of the episode, I want to be there to be able to pull you out of that darkness that he's going to try to suck you into. Flag. You will at some point not be at her side, girl. We got a little brief scene of Talulah giving Frost Nova the spicy candies. I think they mentioned that it was her that gave her the candies. I just always know that she always had the candies. But yeah, that's when we start the Betrayals. That's when we begin the series of Betrayals, as we have like couples cuts where we do see where, Talulah is trying to gain the trust of Patriot, trying to gain his favor, but it seems like, again, through all these sequences of events, it does seem like Patriot wants to do this one thing, but Talulah wants to do a different thing. That there's a conflict in sort of how they see they should be going forward. Again, Talulah has already gained the trust of Frost Nova, and Patriot's kind of like right at her side. But as they're going through all these different skirmishes and trying to go down south, trying to find this place where they can live, Patriot, even Frost Nova, doesn't like the idea of going to the south outside of the snowfields because that's where Ursus is going to be. The moment you get out there, you establish something, there's fertile ground and everything. Yeah, that's why it's the area of Ursus, is because it's fertile ground. They don't come to the snowfields because it's kind of uninhabitable. But yeah, Patriot wants to stay there. They have resources, they can do just fine, but if we go out there, you're going to start a war. Is that what you want to do? You just want to start a war? No, Talulah wants to establish a place where they can bring everybody to, and they can actually survive. They'll have resources and whatnot. That's the idea that she wants. But yeah, of course, it seems like Patriot sees that, and Frost Nova is, in a sense, too. That's very short-sighted. You're just seeing that you're going to walk out there, and Ursus is going to be perfectly fine with you, that you're going to build up defenses, and you're going to be good. No. That's an entire nation, an entire army that we're going to be going up against. It's too short-sighted. But additionally, as they're going, they're getting betrayed. It was so crappy they get to one of these locations, and literally it can still move. Like, the city can still move. And these guys are like, hey, we're going to hang out here. Sorry, guys, we're not warriors like you. We're not bloodthirsty warriors like you guys are. We're just going to stay here. Sorry, we're going to break off from the team. And that, of course, sets her off the fact that they call them bloodthirsty warriors. Don't call my friends that. Yeah, sure, you guys can stay here. Turn on the comms, guys. Yeah, they betrayed us. They called up Ursus and told us their location. Again, they should have executed him. Patriot's like, you should have executed them. What are you doing? Sure enough, they betrayed them. And then later on, with the guys that were stealing the food, Talah's trying to fight in order to keep them from being executed. No, just exile them. Like, everything that she's doing, she's trying to preserve, like, this unity between those that are infected, but it keeps blowing up in her face. Patriot has seen this before. That's like, at some point he even says, you don't seem to understand that sometimes you need sacrifices. You have to make sacrifices sometimes. You should execute them in order to preserve discipline. I won't follow somebody that has not lost everything. Like, there's a sense that Patriot has gone through this. Like, girl, I've been where you've been, and you're acting a little naive. If you want me to trust you and trust you with my men, I need to see that you're willing to kind of acknowledge what I've seen before. You don't seem to acknowledge that. You're going to walk us right into something. And she does. She keeps walking them into situations where she's trying to be nice. She's trying to not be like Ursus. She's trying to preserve this unity of the infected. She's trying to instill upon the people that they need to acknowledge that they have worth, that the infected have worth. Again, Talulah is such a nice person right now, and she's being molded into a nice person, but unfortunately, that is not the person that can lead a group. Even though it does seem like she does not want to be the lead. I like that whole conversation that she has with Faust and Mephisto at some point. Yeah, you can call me Talulah, but as friends. I don't want a code name even though I'm trying to give you two a code name because you're training, I don't want to give people a code name because I don't want to be seen as a leader. I don't think she wants to be Reunion. I don't think she wants to be the leader. She doesn't want to be a queen. She just wants to get these people together and fight for something of themselves, which again is admirable. And again, a good insight into her character before that dramatic downfall. But yeah, after she gets betrayed and wants to instill upon Patriot her desire for essentially them to, again, see value in themselves. It seems like Patriot sort of does at this point entrust themselves to her. Because he does say the fact that, there are many I respect and strength and honesty. I hope that you'll be one. But he also does say, you shall decide the fate of this village. It does seem like he finally acknowledges her. I think the main thing that captures Patriot's attention is the fact that she's not willing to sacrifice people. Even though he feels that, yeah, if they do wrong, you execute them. If this happens, get rid of them. If they want to leave us, cut them loose. This idea that no matter what, no matter who you are, I don't want people to die. Again, I want people to have value in their lives. The infected should feel value in their lives, not always just looking for death. It's sort of the same thing that she said in the previous episode when people were, being attacked by the soldiers, and she's like, stand tall. But yeah, that's when everything goes south. Even though it does, again, seem like Talulah is kind of seemingly molding something in herself. I think through her actions with, again, trying to keep everybody together, forming sort of this partnership. Again, she doesn't want to lead people. She doesn't want to control people. She just wants people to come together. Again, not being a leader. And again, I think that is sort of what it will probably be the opposite of later on. Of course, we see Talulah at the current time. She is a leader. She doesn't want to be a leader. She just wants the people to come together. She doesn't want to be seen as a symbol. She wants Reunion to be the symbol. And additionally, she doesn't want to force people or execute people because they don't want to be a part of it. If you decide to leave, I don't want to attack you for it. All leading up to one fateful day. Well, the night before, we had a little brief moment of Tala and Alina together. It does point out the fact that she is still writing to Shin, even though she's not sending the letters. It's kind of turning into sort of a diary, which I think is a good thing. I think there is an element there of Tala still wanting to be a part of Shin's life, despite the fact they've been separated, which is kind of cool. She's creating an education group that she wants Alina to lead. And then eventually, yes, the next morning, Alina goes out to do some trade with an eastern town that's doing trade with them. And yeah, the men have captured a couple of people that were stealing food, and they want to execute them immediately, but Tala is trying to stop it. At the same time, at the west, they have patrol over there that's going towards one of the villages, so they want to go help out that village. And then during that whole confusion, yes, somebody announces that their teacher hasn't come back yet. The kids are upset the teacher hasn't come back, and she went out east where they're seeing some patrols, and so she rushes out there. Now, when she arrives, Alina won't tell her what happened. Alina's dying, bleeding out and everything. Talah's trying to stop the bleeding and get her out of there. And Alina won't tell her what happened. Now, she says it was the village nearby. Did the villagers do that to her? Is it a patrol? Did one of the patrols come by there and attack her? I won't tell you. So it was the ones that we exiled. She doesn't want her to be consumed by hatred, which would then again allow Cachet to take over her, that curse to take over her. So Alina won't tell Talulah, I won't let you become consumed by hate. I won't tell you, don't do that. Don't become consumed by hate. You said you wouldn't do that. It makes me believe that it could have been the exiled, again, because they were stealing food. They got kicked out. But the way that the conversation ended, I don't think that they were letting them live. She wanted them to give them some food and send them out, but they said, no, we're not doing that. And maybe it was the food part. Maybe they exiled them without food. And that would make sense, that if they seen Alina, and Alina was trading for some food possibly, they would attack her and steal the food. Either way, I think that no matter what attacked her, she doesn't want Talulah to know, because she's immediately going to go after who that was, and she'll be consumed by hate. If it was the villagers, Talulah would probably burn down the entire village. If it was a patrol, she'll find the patrol and kill the patrol, and then she's going to hate every patrol she comes across. No matter what, it's still going to be bad. It was a gut punch of a scene. I think they portrayed it very well, and the idea of her essentially trying to carry her back. You're not leaving me. You're not going anywhere. But the biggest gut punch in this entire scene is the fact that in the end, Alina's like, no, I need to be there at your side. I need to help you, keep you from that thing. Don't be bound by hatred. You're going to be swallowed up by Cachet. I'm worried if I'm not here, who watch over you? I'm afraid. Like, she's afraid of leaving Talah's side. Additionally, I don't want to die. That's always a hard thing to actually have a character say. It always feels more peaceful and more accepting when the character's like, oh, it's fine. I'll meet you on the other side or something like that. No, it's literally, I don't want to die. Yeah, ouch. Ouch. But additionally, the entire time that she's passing away, or at least, slowly dwindling away, Talah's getting more and more angry. The footprints on fire, the entire forest around her setting on fire. Even later on, going through the camp, literally has got like a trail of flames where she's going. Again, like I said before, it was obvious that Alina was going to be the catalyst for Talulah's downfall. That was going to be where the curse is really going to take over. And this is, yeah, that trigger point. She's going to go nuts. Now, what's her first victim is the question mark. Again, is it going to be looking for the exiles? Was it going to be looking for patrol? Who's going to be first blood, basically? But yeah, seen it coming, but at the same time, doesn't make it any easier. Doesn't make it any easier. It just sucks. Again, I give it credit for this episode not being immediately jump into Tala being bad girl, that we got to again see the Talulah that could have been. That's really what I feel like episode 23 is the Talulah that could have been. And that's the crappy part. But anyways, interesting episode overall. Again, I talked more than I thought I would, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, like button down below. If you like this content, you want to support channel more, become a member of the channel. Until next time, you'll take care.